What's up, everybody? This is Dal Stone here, and today we're gonna be talking about in this video a suggested topic from Twitter, a user named Matt Stricker, and his topic was how to stand apart from the crowd. So for me, it's essentially how do you separate yourself from everyone else that essentially is fighting and is trying to get the job that you want, right? So I'm assuming this is like art related and this is portfolio related. If this is not about that, let me know, Matt Stricker. But for me, this is where I'm gonna take it because it's quite a broad statement, right? So first and foremost, as I'm not a recruiter at EA, but I have been part of interviews before where I was giving the interview. And from my understanding and from my experience, the first thing recruiters and art directors see is the portfolio, right? So your portfolio has to stand out because we're given, tens and 20 demo reels to look at, right, at a time. And though that's considered, by the time it gets to me, it's probably already been filtered by an HR person or a recruiter. So what's going to capture the recruiter's eye is the quality of your portfolio, the quality of your demo reel, and the quality of your portfolio. So one of the biggest things, about standing out right away is your quality of your portfolio. So first and foremost, when I look at a portfolio, I can tell when someone is a student. Most of the time it's because of the lack of overall polish, because let's be real here, when you're going to school, sometimes you're in it for about a year, or it's a program that's like 2 years. When I look back at the time that I spent in school, the 1 to 2 years that I spent there, when I think about it, it's not really enough, right? Unless I had gone into school knowing exactly what I wanted to do. If I knew I was going to get into environment or being a world artist, I would have been able to focus on everything that was important about being an environment artist right away. But it took me quite a while in school to realize that this is what I wanted to do. So, when I pivoted towards environment art, I really only maybe spent 6 to 9 months of refining my skills as an environment artist. Okay, so the lack of overall polish. So you need to really polish your demo reel so that it doesn't look like a student demo reel. It looks like a professional, or someone that, if you can make a recruiter kind of go, is this a student? Like they're not sure, right? That's the perfect sweet spot. If you can make your portfolio look like it's not a student's, like this is you after you finish looking at their art station or their demo reel, and you're going, wow, okay, well, how many years does this person have, right? And then you look at their resume and it's like they don't have any experience. They've only been through school, right? And that surprise is way better than the opposite of you looking at a demo reel and you're going, whoa, that you can tell there's a student demo reel, and you look at their resume, they've already had 1 or 2 jobs, and you're kind of like, that's their demo reel now, right? So you want to be there in that sweet spot. Now, some tips that you're probably going to find over the internet about your portfolio and how to make it stronger, right, is you don't want random art sprinkled into portfolio. And this is one of those things where you can tell that this is a student portfolio or a student demo reel, is when they're putting everything that they kind of did in school onto their art station, right? Their first unwrapped head, or their first few props that they've made in their modeling one class. Like, these are things that you should not be putting into your portfolio. Get rid of that kind of stuff. If you're trying to become an environment artist, don't show character work. Don't show animation. Don't show your level design document that you made. These are things that are really good if it's super polished and at a professional level, right? But coming straight out of school, especially from speaking from experience here, those, like, you would have that one level design class, or you'd have that one scripting class, or you'd have that one texturing class, that one character class, right? But if your focus is environment art, you're gonna like, as a professional, if someone is sprinkling in these other projects into their portfolio, it's not going to be their strongest work, right? Like, you're unless you've been drawing for years, like, but prior to going to environment art, and then you have a personal section or something like that. And again, I don't really recommend this either unless it's really, really good work, professional grade work. Like, if you're able to draw an environment through illustration, right, like, really well, then put it into your personal section, into your art station, and show off some of that stuff. But again, if that's not your goal, then I wouldn't recommend it, right? But okay, I don't want to ramble here. So yeah, so again, if your focus is just environment art, make sure that your portfolio reflects that. Have your strongest environment art stuff on there, and be critical with your portfolio. Look at it and say to yourself, like, is this piece gonna land me a job, right? Look at your weakest piece too, and be like, is this impressive? And if it isn't, throw it out, and go and start a new project and make something look polished, right? And be proud of it. If you're not proud of something afterwards, then get rid of it, right? And that's something that I even go through today when I'm working on a personal project. Sometimes at the end of it, I'm either, one, burnt out from it because I've been looking at it for too long. Two, I was getting sick of it, right? And then I started just rushing it to finish it. You can really tell. And then I post it up onto ArtStation, or I throw it onto Sketchfab. And when I'm like 1 month removed from it, sometimes, like, already I feel like after that I'm just like, all right, this is definitely not up to quality, but I'll post it up anyways, because for me, I'm a professional, so I'm kind of like, it's a little bit more forgiving. But even after like a month, I'll look at it and I'll be like, no, this is not up to quality. And most of the time I'll just hide it, right? And it's crazy, and maybe one day I'll show you my ArtStation, where, because I keep all my projects on ArtStation, a lot of them are just hidden from the public, so people just don't see it. And maybe this is something that's kind of useful for other artists to see too, is like, don't show bad work. And I think sometimes you need someone to be honest with you and tell you that it's not up to quality, it's not up to standard, so just get rid of it. So yeah, have a clear focus on what it is that you want to be, whether it's environment, character, shaders artist, substance designer artist, programmer, level designer, like, whatever it is, just make sure that it's clear. Okay, because you look at professional portfolios, and just go to ArtStation, right? You're gonna see tons of people who have polished portfolios on ArtStation. Just look at it. You're going to see that they have a focused portfolio. You're going to see that they have high quality polish, and their presentation skills are amazing. And that's another thing that you're going to want to work on. So yes, when someone looks at your work and assumes that you've been in the industry for a while, it's always a nice surprise, right? To kind of read their resume later and find out that they're not in school. So I made that point already. Just wanted to reiterate that. Now, if you haven't landed a job, if you haven't landed a job, sorry, my computer just there. Okay, sorry. Now, if you haven't landed a job yet, and it is most likely, because your portfolio is not strong enough. So you need to keep improving, and you need to go back and, like I said, remove. When you add a new piece in, look at your portfolio and see if there's any pieces that you're just like, no, this needs to go. Okay. There's a saying that a lot of artists have, and it's your portfolio is as good as your weakest piece. So just keep that in mind. So good portfolio, will land you an art test, or potentially a job interview, right? And the interview is where personal interests and hobbies come into play. And now, again, because the topic is so broad, I wasn't sure if I wanted to add this to this part of the video on how to stand apart from the crowd, but I figured I would cover this anyways. So you landed your art. So your portfolio is polished. Everything looks good. You get an art test. You pass the art test, let's say, and now you're in the interview process, right? So the interview is like a first date, right? If you don't have a personality, you don't have hobbies, you don't have interests, you're not very good at interacting with people or expressing your feelings, you don't have a sense of humor, or you have no goals for the future, the company might not feel like you'd be a good fit onto the team, right? Now, this is where this is like a personality test, right? Like, your portfolio is awesome, so that's good. You've caught the attention. But this is so important, is making sure the person that you want to hire fits into your team, right? It is so important, because if we feel like we're not going to vibe with you as an artist or as a person, we're probably not going to hire you unless we're in desperate need of artists. Then we'll take that risk, but most of the time, we probably won't take that risk. Okay, so if this is the case, okay, where maybe you don't have a good sense of humor, or maybe you don't have too many hobbies or interests. So how do you build personality and character? So I'm gonna share how I think I had built my character, what has helped me, okay, become who I am. Obviously, your closest friends and family and your support group, that's huge, right? And if you don't have that, you need to go and find people who can help build that solid backbone for you, and build a strong support group. Okay, that's super important. I recommend getting out of your comfort zone. Like, if you are someone that you feel that you're lacking character or personality, you need to really break out of that comfort zone, right? That's tough for a lot of people, and it was tough for me too. Like, I'll be honest, like, I am not who I am today naturally. I had to become this person, right? I had to build habits and build routine and make this person, essentially, right? So go and network, and this is such a hard thing to do, especially if you're a student coming out, is going to network events, going to job fairs and stuff like that, right? To meet people online, and interact with them as much as possible. Go and travel and see the world. Now, this is something that's huge, because every single life experience that you collect is going to help build your character, right? So super important. Go travel, see the world, right? In your spare time, watch movies with friends, play games with friends, experience new things, right? Like, don't stick to just one genre of games. go and play different genre games that maybe you typically wouldn't play, just to experience it, right? Because every story, every narrative story, there's a purpose to that story. Someone wrote it based off of maybe experience, right? Like The Last of Us always comes to my mind. Now that I'm a father, I know that playing that game again, it's gonna hit me differently, and it hit me differently when I first played it, before I became a father too, right? But it was telling such an amazing story, and there's tons of narrative stories out there, but I can cover that another day. And I think most importantly, in my young 20s, the thing that really helped me build who I am today, or help build a big, strong foundation, is reading books. Reading books. That, to me, when I look back, really kind of set the tone, right? So I'm going to share with you the 2 books that I was reading yearly in my early 20s. And admittedly, I haven't done this in the past couple years, and making this video has reminded me to go back and review these books. So the first book that I read is How to Win Friends and Influence People, by Dale Carnegie. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but how to win friends and influence people. That book helped me. It essentially helped me be a good person, like learn how to be a good person, right? How to be a good person to others, but importantly, how to be a good person to yourself as well, right? And how to treat people, how people like to be treated, and likewise, how other people like to be treated is how you like to be treated as well, right? And it was such an amazing book, and one of my favorite, if not my favorite, self-help book. Personally, I was like, I don't need this book. When someone recommended this book to me, I was like, I don't need this. Like, at the time I was like, I think I'm a great person. I don't need to read this. And then when I finally read it, so many things stuck out for me that I didn't really think about. Okay, so highly recommend it. It's not an expensive book. I'm sure you can find a copy online somewhere, right? It's a very, very famous book. Okay, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And then the second book that I was reading yearly is Tuesdays with Maury. And the reason why I recommend this book is it really helps you appreciate life, and to never take anything for granted, and to look at the big picture stuff. And then when you finally figure out what's important in life, right, you're going to start to focus more on the important things rather than the little things. And you're going to start, the little things, you'll start to learn how to tune them out, right? So those are the 2 books that I recommend for me nowadays. Now that I drive into work, I don't really read books anymore. I listen to the audiobooks. So yeah. So this has been going on now for about 19 minutes. So I'm going to end this here. And hopefully this is helpful for any new artists or artists who are trying to break into the industry. If this was helpful, make sure you please like the video, share it. If you don't like it, same thing, just leave a comment below, and follow me on Twitter. The Twitter is where I'll be asking the community for their suggestions on videos and topics to cover in the future as well. And yeah, I'll see you guys again next time. Bye now.